Hello, this is Harriet Westmore with the Women in Public Safety podcast. Welcome back to another episode. This is episode number 10. Before we get into today's topic, I want to invite everybody who's listening on YouTube to hit that like, share, and subscribe. I want to get the algorithms going. I'm hoping to get more people to follow and become more subscribed members of the podcast on YouTube. So please, if you will, hit that like, share, and subscribe. Also, if you're on listening by audio, which is on Spotify, iHeart, or any other podcast platforms, also please like the podcast. So I really appreciate the support. Thank you. All right, I'm gonna jump right on into it. This topic today actually came out of a request for a listener who listened to one of the prior episodes that I've had, and they sent me a quick comment and wanted to talk about a particular subject, which it is a very great subject and is a very needed and most common subject, and it's called nepotism in the workplace and how to challenge that. This goes across all types of jobs. It's not just for people who work in public safety or human services profession. This is just any type of job that you work, any type of job place that you work is nepotism. And for those who don't know what nepotism actually is, it's basically a workplace that refers to the practicing of favoring relatives or friends by giving them jobs. It's a form of favoritism that's based on relationships rather than the merits of their qualifications. And it occurs, like I said, in any type of workplace setting, private, public sectors, organizations, and governmental agencies. So I'm going to hone it down to particularly how nepotism affects those who work in public safety or in human services field. I see a lot of nepotism all the time in my job. The main issue is these individuals who are related to somebody, who's related to somebody, or who knows them personally, are given positions that they may or essentially are not qualified for. But because they're somebody's daughter or somebody's son or somebody's niece, uncle, cousin, brother, sister, they get the job. And with that, how does that affect us as other staff and employees? Well, it compromises the skills and qualifications, because if they don't know what they're doing on that job, it causes a lot of problems. When you're given directives from somebody who doesn't know anything, but they just, happen to be in that position because of who they know, and also undermines the quality of service given to the public. It's a crucial point as far as gaining our trust with the public, but the public can't trust us because a lot of people are in positions because of who they know or who they're related to. It's not because based on qualifications or their skills or their professionalism. And it does create bad morale for everybody else. And I know for a fact, it's like, what's the point of even applying for a position? And because I've come to that point, what's the point of applying? I know that I'm qualified in a lot of the open positions that I have was interested in applying. I knew I was qualified for it. I knew I was. I'm probably overqualified, to be honest, but you don't get an interview. But then next thing you know, you see someone that you know good and well who shouldn't have gotten that position. Next thing you know, they're now in that position. How did they, why? You know them, maybe you know them personally and know their work ethic or lack thereof, but then they are giving the position. At least I would want a opportunity to show my skills and get an interview and to sell myself, and is why I feel like I'm qualified for the job. But if you don't even get a interview, but then somebody else does not only get an interview, they actually get the job. Or let's put it this way, they go through the interview, and I'm saying air quotes just for go through the process, but they already know they have the job, right? They already know they're going to put that person in the position, but to keep try to go through correct protocol, they'll have that interview. So what does that do for the rest of us? Rest of us who are definitely qualified or definitely and wants to advance in our careers, but feel like why should we? Why should we? And I personally am not the person that I don't brown nose. I don't kiss anybody's behind. I don't suck up to any supervisors or anything like that, just to hopefully to hope that I get promoted. I guess I'm old school, old school. And I was taught you work for what you achieve. You got to work for it and you got to earn it. And I've always had that belief and had that ethical attitude, which is why I'm probably not where I'm going to, I'm not going to be ever going to be in a supervisory position or anything, higher than that. Especially when you're working in agencies, public agencies, private agencies, such as in law enforcement or human services or anything like that. A lot of it is so political. You have to deal with the politics, and I just don't play politics. I just don't do that. I go with my morals and integrity, and I feel that I try to show what I can do based on my experience and my professional background, my education, and other skills that I have went out on my own to make the initiative to do professional development. I feel that qualified for the position, but it doesn't matter. A lot of times it does not matter. And also, nepotism creates potential for conflict of interest. The impartiality and objectivity of employees are paramount. We know that's very important. It leads to personal relationship that may influence professional decisions because you have a close relationship with that person. You can't make professional decisions based on your personal relationship. It's like husband and wife. The wife might have gotten promoted, but husband is involved in the same department or whatever. They may have different jobs, but they may have to go against each other on certain issues according to their position. And if you don't make the right professional decision for the good of the whole department, you're favoring towards your partner or whoever, knowing that it's not good for the position that you're in for the department, then it's a conflict of interest. And not only that, I guess obvious is a legal and ethical concerns. A lot of opinions are raised that, especially when you work in a public sector, that legal ethics comes into play, which is why we all every year we have to do these online e-learnings of different courses that we have to do every single year, and they're usually the same courses, the same format and everything, the same videos, but we have to do it. And one of the main course that we have to actually mandatory to do is ethics. When you're working in a public agency, especially governmental agencies, it's all about the public's trust. And you have to learn ethics. What is ethical? What can you do and what you cannot do that is considered ethic or unethical? But at the same time, we're required to know this, but it still happens anyway. They're just they do it behind doors, and in the way they do it, they go through the correct protocol, so-called protocol. But we internally know how this person gained their position. But we have to understand that there are a lot of situations that you just can't cross the line, but it's done anyway. So, what do you say? So how do we challenge it? How do we challenge these? Well, if you're in a union, you can also, as the obvious, is file grievances. Whatever will come out of it, who knows? But at the least, it does raise the alarm if you file a grievance, if you're a unionized organization. And it also comes from policies from HR. By implementing these strict and enforce these hiring policies that will deter nepotism. Organizations to have clear, transparent, and fair hiring practices and prioritize qualifications and experience over personal relationships. That's ideal. Also, promoting a culture of meritocracy, which is encouraging a culture where performance, or qualifications are valued above all, which can help mitigate the effects of nepotism. We also have whistleblower protections. Now, that's an interesting view. Whistleblowers, that's a whole nother topic, and I may do a whole podcast segment about whistleblowing. Also, it's suggested for regular audits and reviews. So, hiring practices and workplace culture can help identify and address nepotism head on. Those are some of the ways to address it head on and challenge nepotism. Call it out for what it is. I know for us in law enforcement, you do have a union and you can grieve it. Whether, I said earlier, whether the outcome is in your favor or not, the fact that you brought it up. And, keep a paper trail. I always encourage everybody to keep a paper trail, document, because documentation is everything. You see things going on and you did your due diligence to follow protocol and the issue is still not resolved, you still document it. Because what's the saying? If you didn't write it down, it didn't happen. Right? So document the issue, document what steps you took, the right protocol, the people that you went to address the issue, and the outcome of that issue, whether positive or negative, document it. So if it's come to a point to where you're grieving something, especially when it comes to nepotism, you can give an actual date until a civil rights lawsuit, EEOC. There's different legal remedies that you can go through for that. If it gets to that bad and that, to that point, that's another issue to address later on. But we all go through nepotism. We all have experienced it in some form. We can always say, well, this is how it is what it is. And, you don't do anything or you do something. And if it's not addressed properly, at least you did your part. It's nothing going to happen if you don't say anything. And even if you do say something, it doesn't happen. At least in your heart of hearts that you did what you could do. So don't ever feel that you should just sit back and just take it. Utilize the steps that are available to you. Still apply for positions, even though you might know in your heart and I might not get this position, but you never know. You never know who is actually watching, and you never know when people sees what's going on and is tired of it, and they themselves are watching and they are trying to address the problem in their own way, in their own area. And like I said, you can always challenge. If you don't get an interview, when you know that you are qualified for the position and you know that whoever so-and-so received that position, challenge personnel. Well, why did they, I have them they can pull their criteria of how they come up to decide to choose their candidate. And if they can't justify why, legally justify why they did not even give you an interview, but this person received that position and they can compare the qualifications, there you go. You can definitely challenge that. Definitely challenge it. I thought that was a very interesting topic, and I want to thank the viewer and the listener who gave me this suggestion to talk about, because it is very common, especially in our profession. So there you have it. Definitely want to hear your feedback. Definitely want to hear stories. If you personally have experienced it, definitely want to hear from you. And how did you handle your situation? You can email me at publicsafetybywomen@gmail.com, or you can comment. If you're listening by YouTube, please put the comments below and tell me your story. And if you have any other suggestions, welcome any other topics of suggestions for us to discuss. I'll be more than happy to accommodate, because there's so many stories, there's so many issues that we could talk about in our profession. So I want to hear directly from you, what type of topics would you like me to discuss in our episode? All right, this is episode number 10. You guys stay safe. I'll talk to you next week, and be blessed and not stressed. All right, peace.